Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is David Novak. Recently, I picked up this at the neighborhood box. After this, Christ showed me the part of his passion when he was near death. She had visions, I guess. I picked up this. And I picked up this. I wonder how much I need to read any of these, frankly. Julian of Norwich, I remember, or is it Norwich? I remember seeing this at a bookstore and flipping through it one time and choosing not to buy it. But then when it showed up in the box free, well, could I resist? No. But that doesn't mean I should be reading it. She had some experience with divine love, apparently. But it seems to me that the vision that she had is a thing betwixt her and Christ, if you will. Why do I need to be a third wheel to that experience? White fragility. I really like all of these new modes of framing issues which run through American society, which did not exist when I was young, such as the concept of white fragility. But at this point, I am retired from writing, so in the sense of using anything I might glean from the book to inform something I write about something, that possibility most likely will not occur. And I live such a life where mostly I hang around with my partner and we look at the various foibles taking place amongst animals. And if we have any conversation, she and I, it more than likely will be about something that the animals have done or are doing. It's a sort of gossip or some kind of problem which has arisen pertaining to the animals. And so I'm not really sure, given the nature of my life right now, how much I need to delve deeply into these purely human concerns when the human world is only relevant to me to the extent that it impinges upon my personal world, I guess you could say. And then this is the one I probably have the most likelihood of looking at. I've heard a lot of good things about Elizabeth Strout, sorry. And I understand that there may be a follow-up to this book, and then there's a book with another character, and then a follow-up to that book, and then there's recently a book wherein the two characters meet. I believe they're all collections of short stories. On the other hand, I've seen the TV version of this, not entirely, but starring everybody's favorite actor. And I just wonder how much at this point, having seen that, I need to look at the book itself. I still, as I say, may give this a chance. So why am I making this video? It's not to show you these books. Actually, I have the rarity of a couple of hours of uncommitted time where I can film a video, so I thought I would do so. And today I watched a video by booktuber Ann Novella in which she discusses how she almost succumbed to social media, which was taking over her life. And I've had thoughts about that. At this point, when Facebook, well, I didn't start Facebook when it started, but it's probably been 13, 14 years now that I've been on that platform. And when I started on Facebook, well, at first, of course, tentatively, you're unsure about how to proceed. But gradually, I went through all of the phases, having arguments about political topics, posting perhaps a poem of my own, and then having an argument about the use of the word "fi." Oh, you can't use the word "fi" in a poem. You know, "fi" from fee, fi, fo, fum, that "fi." And then moved on to a phase where you're posting funny memes, which have by then proliferated, and then cat photos and so forth. And once I became a booktube watcher, and then finally a booktube content producer, I guess is the phrase, I find that YouTube has become my social media of choice. And so whilst my Facebook account is still open, I just check in. I have a number of people whose postings I dearly love to see, and that's it. I have a number of people that I follow that I'm not particularly interested in. And as far as posting on my own, there's very little that I feel a need to post. If I post something about the book that I'm reading lately, I'll always get a few likes from a certain couple of friends, which is nice. But that's about it. I don't think anybody much pays attention to anything I might post, and I don't seek out interesting things to post either. Probably if I post something, it would just be a compulsion. Steve Donahue also had a video recently about how his Twitter account was hijacked by somebody, so it is now being run by somebody who is not him, by some sort of an imposter. I skirted that problem just quite accidentally around the time that Elon Musk took control of the company or bought the company, however it went down. I received some kind of notification about my Twitter account, which had not been particularly active, that there was some kind of a compromise, a security compromise. And so I went into the account and I just deleted the account. And I miss Twitter, actually. I did enjoy Twitter. But to my understanding, the thing that Twitter has become since Elon Musk took it over bears scant resemblance to what it used to be. I used to follow a lot of journalists, for example, say Ed Young, and particularly during the COVID era, which I don't know that it's ended yet, but we just refer to those initial years as such. Following physicians, following scientists, and getting up-to-date information about things. And also when there's some kind of newsworthy event happening, a whole bunch of people getting shot in some town in such and such a state, well, you can automatically go on Twitter, or you could in those times, and find somebody who's very close to the scene and get a more detailed picture than if you watched, say, a television news report, and everything else would have such a lag to it. And so I missed some of that. Some of that perhaps was information that I didn't need. We had a shooting in my neighborhood just within the last 2 weeks. 3 boys were shot at by some other boys, and one of them died. And if I had had my Twitter account, I'm sure I would have gotten much more information besides just walking with my dog and seeing the police tape and all of the ambulances and whatnot. So I do miss Twitter. But YouTube has become my social media of choice. And partly that is because I like the bookish content. However, as I subscribe to more and more booktubers, then I find myself falling into this situation that Ann Novella talked about, that of watching too much. Is this activity taking over my life? And of course, you have the app right there, and you're looking at it, and there's some little short video of some big ball rolling down a hill, and it looks like it's about to crush a car or something. And so, of course, you have to click on that, and you wind up looking at a lot of things that you don't need to look at. So, with the previous iterations of social media, I found myself periodically reaching a state thinking, I just have to bail on this. I have to get rid of it, quit spending time in front of screens. When I quit doing a blog that I had for a bit, that was the, what do you call it, sort of statement that I made with the closure. I said, I'm just spending too much time in front of screens. I have to give that up. Well, I never gave it up. And I've just transferred it to YouTube, I guess. And taking a further step back, now that I'm sort of sinking into and reveling in this fact of becoming an old person, a person with some antiquity under his belt or notched on his belt. I don't know what the right metaphor there is. I find that the old people in the past that I have looked up to and admired, and perhaps would like in some respects to pattern myself after, are those who have kept up with technology, not those who have taken a Luddite type of strategy toward dealing with it. So people who have kept up with learning how to text and whatnot. So for the time being, I think I will stay with it. But I agree with Ann Novella that some of the content that I receive, that I intake, may not be necessary to me. And I find that I am beginning to trim off some of the videos that I watch. So certain types of videos, book haul videos, where somebody just has been to the box and picked up some books and shows what those are and talks about how they might like to read them. Well, I can do that myself. I don't think I need to watch that kind of video too often. I still probably will because I'm curious. You have some booktubers that, well, I won't go into some booktubers. I'll leave that. For me, working in my favor is the fact that throughout most of my adult life, I was a writer. I have since given up the habit or the hobby. And to be a writer entails being solitary. I believe I see a lot of videos about writing on YouTube, and I believe that all of the discussion is counterproductive, ultimately. Writing is such a thing. that either you do it or you don't. Either way is fine. It's not better to write or to not write, but you don't need to talk about it. I took some writing workshops when I was young, and I learned nothing about writing. In them, what I learned in those writing workshops was something about reading, and that was very valuable. I don't believe a person is going to learn anything about writing through chit-chat about the process, the procedure. I commented on a post by Grix, which he had done about writing, something to the effect that all of this talk about writing seems to me to be like just an architecture group wherein everybody talks about window dressing and nobody deals with soil analysis. Nobody wants to talk about soil analysis. And that's because soil analysis is not as fun as window dressing. And with writing, it is exactly the same. When you get in there and you have to do the nitty-gritty work of it, you are on your own. There is no light to shine for you. There is no canary in the coal mine to tell you if you're doing the wrong thing. You just have to proceed yourself in utter darkness until you find some sort of light within yourself. That is a sad truth, I think, which my experience has borne out. Reading, however, at one point I said I realized that reading and writing were kind of the exact same activity. I would qualify that with the distinction that writing is a solitary act. You die alone and you write alone, and those two activities are not all that far apart, frankly. But you do not read alone. When you read, you are, like it or not, immersed within a tradition, and probably the best way to derive fullest pleasure or even fullest benefit out of what you read is to converse about it. And so for me, making these videos, talking about what I read, has been a help just in processing the books that I read. I think there's a thing called a Richard Feynman method of learning things, and he said the best way to learn something is to try teaching it, to imagine how you would teach it to another person. That's probably not too far from, was it Benjamin Disraeli who said the best way to learn about a subject is to write a book about it? You know, the old writer's faux paradigm, write what you know, which is silly, of course. The actual paradigm should be write what you don't know. Or as Keats said, write what you imagine. So I'm getting kind of lost here with what I was going to say. The struggle with social media remains perpetual for me. And I've already put an expiration date on my channel in January of next year, when I will take stock and either renew my commitment to the channel or let it go. I really don't know what I will do. I so far believe that the benefits of being engaged with YouTube have outweighed the deficits. In fact, I have not found a lot of deficits to the activity, other than, as a novella said, of spending too much time watching things. So we will see where it goes, and I will leave this rumination here, but I'm hoping other people will talk about it. I do believe that it's a topic of importance. Of course, we are looking at climate catastrophe occurring within the next 20 years. I personally believe it will happen a lot sooner. And given that, I truly feel we need to be thinking a lot more about how we are living and not about externalities to that. However, reading and making YouTube videos or booktube videos, as we in the corner call them, is a good means of taking our minds off of global circumstances which we cannot control. Possibly somebody will tell me that you should not make a video without mentioning the apparent genocide which is occurring in Gaza. You should not make a video without talking about the looming climate catastrophe. And I don't know, it may well be. Just as when you go to a theater production nowadays, it is not uncommon for there to be some kind of an announcement telling you this theater is built upon property that was once owned by, and then mentioning some other people. I don't know. It's all food for thought. Thank you very much for stopping by my channel.